Lemurians. Now, what to say about this woman? Right. Helena Petrovna Hahn was a beautiful child with dark hair and exceptionally bright blue eyes. Early in life, she showed a marked interest in fantasy and make-believe. Among other things, she assured playmates that she was accompanied on her wanderings through the labyrinth cellars of her family home by invisible companions that she called her hunchbacks. She frequently walked and talked in her sleep, and she was such a skillful storyteller that she was said to cause hallucinations in other children who listened as she spun her vivid tales. She was also headstrong. Just weeks before her 17th birthday, she married one Nikifor Blavatsky, a government official who was around 3 times her age. It was a short-lived union. Helena left Blavatsky within months and subsequently married again. But she would style herself forever after as Madame Blavatsky. Still in her teens, she embarked on a series of global travels and adventures that would occupy her for a lifetime. Later, she would claim that her journeys had included a 7-year stay in Tibet, where she studied the ancient wisdom of the Hindus. Each time she returned to her home in Russia, family members noticed that she was plumper. Eventually, she reached 230 pounds, and perhaps more madcap, she had a boisterous sense of humour, great energy, and a talent for profanity. Everywhere she went, people were captivated by her magnetic personality. In the 1870s, Madame Blavatsky visited the United States at the height of the same spiritualist craze that would make the public so receptive to Ignatius Donnelly's vision of Atlantis. In New York, she teamed up with a psychic investigator named Henry Steele Olcott in order to form an organization called the Theosophical Society, after the Greek words for God and wisdom. A stated purpose of the society, which soon attracted numerous adherents, was to look into ancient mysteries such as the secrets of the pyramids and the nature of people of the distant past. As spiritual head of a growing God movement, Madame Blavatsky created for the Theosophical Society a major occult work called The Secret Doctrine, completed in 1888. In this landmark 2-volume book, Madame Blavatsky reported the revelatory spirits from the Orient had taught her about the lost continents of Atlantis and Lemuria. She and her disciples subsequently elaborated on the Lemurian continent as part of a universal philosophy, drawn from a number of Western and Eastern sources. According to Madame Blavatsky and her followers, Lemurians were the third of the 7 root of races of mankind. Their continent occupied most of the southern hemisphere, and they were originally hermaphrodite people who communicated only by psychic powers, so that talking to each other with their heads, telekinesis, only by psychic powers conferred upon them by a third and fourth race was the Atlanteans, who evolved from the Lemurians. As Lemuria sank beneath the sea millions of years ago, they inhabited a spur of Lemuria in the northern Atlantic. That itself was to sink later, finally disappearing about 9,000 years ago. Madame Blavatsky believed refugees from that disaster escaped to Central Asia, where they evolved into modern Hindus and Europeans. Right. Got some story. For some reason, that woman's been with me since I was about 27 or something like that. Probably younger. Wonder what her ring is. See it? With a big stamp. Probably evil. Another enthusiastic chronicler of Atlantis and Lemuria was the Austrian mystic and philosopher Rudolf Steiner. And people know the Rudolf Steiner schools, strongly influenced by the works of Madame Blavatsky and her Theosophic. I can't say that word right. I'm swearing. Sounds like her disciples. Steiner went on to form his own spiritual movement, which he called anthroposophy. I can't even say that word. From the Greek words for man and wisdom. So it's been moved from God and wisdom to man and wisdom. Among other things, the Anthro Society founded a number of schools and promoted organic agriculture. In his voluminous writings and lectures, Steiner had ready rejoinders for those doubters who would question the conclusions about his lost continents. Once, for example, he noted that Atlantean airships would be inoperable in modern times, having been designed to fly in the much denser atmosphere that he had said prevailed during the heyday of Atlantis. Anticipating the responses of his critics, he went on to observe, "We need not raise the question how now as to whether such a condition of density is compatible with the opinion held by modern science, for science and logical thought can, owing to their inherent attributes, never say the final word as to what is possible or impossible." Steiner also maintained that human bodies, along with rocks and mineral deposits, were somehow softer and more pliable thousands of years ago in Lemurian and Atlantean times than they would later become. The most elaborate descriptions in the lost continents and their inhabitants were created by the Theosophist writer W. Scott Elliot. According to Scott Elliot's chronicle published in 1893, the Atlanteans lived in a nearly totalitarian society ruled by an upper class that had harnessed a great number of technological marvels. For example, they flew about their realms in 100-mile-an-hour airships that were powered by mysterious fuel known as vril, essentially a life force that produced propulsion in somewhat the same way a modern jet engine does. Such fanciful details about life in Lemuria and Atlantis and further elaborations of Mu have been divined by what their discoveries call occult powers, the reading of psychic memories that somehow survive the passage of eons. Conventional scientists may scoff at the claims, but others have concluded that there are unconventional ways of knowing things. For example, some people say that certain quartz crystals employed as aids of meditation can enable the user to tune into special kinds of benevolent wisdom. That was perhaps the essence of Atlantis. Still others maintain that the mysterious of Atlantis had never been plumbed so thoroughly as they were in the first half of the 20th century of Edgar Cayce, that gentle, near illiterate psychic healer who told of the lost continent while lying in a sleep-like trance. Born in 1877, the son of a Kentucky farmer, Edgar Cayce had to leave school in the 7th grade and go to work. Later he hoped to become a preacher, but came down with a throat ailment that reduced his voice to the merest whisper. After doctors failed to cure him, he asked a friend to put him on a hypnotic trance. In this state, Cayce spoke out in a loud, firm voice, diagnosing his problem and prescribing a remedy that ultimately worked. Henceforth, there would be two Edgar Cayces, the sleeping and the waking, for years until his death in 1945. Cayce spent a great deal of this time submerged in deep trances, seeking the causes of people's physical ailments and disabilities, as well as prescribing cures. How fascinating is that, eh? Just thought I would share it. Edgar Cayce snaps off self-portrait in his youth. Cayce was a professional photographer whose later life was devoted to psychic readings, in which he predicted the rise of Atlantis. Right, so Atlantis obviously is their, let's see, what can I call it? That'll be their heaven, I take it. All of Cayce's readings after 1932, where an institute was founded to support his work, they were written down. 650 different readings that Cayce gave for different people over a period of 21 years. Interesting, eh? I'll read all about Cayce as well. It's enough for the now, 11 minutes.